Hey!
Hey, thank you for coming today. You look tired. I know things at school have been very tough. Endless requirements and reading materials are stressing you out. But tell you what, we are still lucky to be born in this generation. Everything is easier.
Easier? What do you mean?
Well, compared to our parents who did not have internet while they were studying, or our grandparents who lived their life farming, or even the people before the new information age who did not even had access to books, we are indeed luckier.
What? People did not have access to books? I cannot imagine that.
Good thing you came here then. Let me tell you more about it. I've prepared some snacks. She's Benna, the main character of this book, and she would let us know what happened before this age where we live in.
This is my time machine, and I'll be more than pleased to show you places you want to see. Today, we're going to the past. Let's go!
I wish I had one too.
Who doesn't? Anyway, this is a really interesting book. Never gets old.
Woo! That was an extreme ride. Hope your stomach didn't turn. Anyway, where are we? Or should I say, when are we?
Benna walked around the village her time machine landed in and found out she was in the pre-Gutenberg era.
Wait, hold on. We were just talking about how easy it is today. Now what? Gutenberg?
We're not getting far from that. And it's Gutenberg. Now to continue, Benna wandered around the town and saw not a single printed material, which actually makes sense.
In pre-Gutenberg era, there were very limited access to books, which is sad. Books are very expensive and only the elites could afford them. While on the other hand, the lower class people who could not afford them were sadly illiterate.
I cannot imagine myself knowing nothing. I know I complain about homework and stuff, but being illiterate is something I do not want to be.
The people who could not afford the books didn't also have access to information, but they do have sources of information. How? Through oral testaments. In other words, gossips.
It might be such a weird thing to depend on, especially for information. The people had no choice back then. Oral statements were the only thing that's available, and besides, it's free. The travelers and church heads were usually the ones who people get information from, since they are the only ones who go to different places.
But, of course, we all know oral statements are not always factual. Then, there goes my good friend, Johannes Gutenberg. He started the movable type of printing in Europe and opened the door to modernization.
But you should not be confused about the Chinese and Korean movable type printing. Historians said that it actually started there long before Gutenberg started it in Europe, but they did not really cause the world that much effect than that of Gutenberg's, so the credit was given to him. When Gutenberg started it, it was revolutionary, so it's all thanks to him.
Curious to what it looks like? Here it is.
These are single letters in each metal which you arrange to create words and stamp onto paper. What makes this better than the wood block printing is that it can be reused, unlike the latter, which you can only use for one purpose.
Okay, I'm sorry, but I cannot imagine it.
Here's a video. It might be helpful.
Nowadays, when you want to print something, you turn to your computer. But 150 years ago, it wasn't that easy. Hi, I'm here with Doug Klaus, master printer, and we're at Bound & Company Stationers. Hi, Doug.
Hi, Erica.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Can you tell us a little bit about the history of the printing press?
Sure, the printing press was developed in the 15th century, around the 1450s, by Gutenberg in Germany. The printing press had an enormous effect on our culture, on human culture, because it allowed knowledge and culture to be spread really quickly to a lot of people. So soon after the press was invented in the 1450s, it spread throughout Europe in 25 years. Today, we're all used to just hitting a button and getting whatever you want and whatever typeface you want immediately. This was a lot more trouble, a lot more work. Type was all in little pieces, much like these. Individual pieces of metal or wood, and you had to put them together upside down and backwards. So it was a lot of work and took a lot more people than printing takes now.
Can you give us a little demonstration of how it works?
Sure. In the press right now, I've got some wood type locked up from our collection. It's some wood type from the 19th century. It just says the word Seaport. And then below that, I have a little piece that says Bound & Co. Incorporated, established 1775. So first, I've got to get some ink on here. So I'm just going to step back here. I've got some ink already on a roller. And I just roll it right across the face of the type. I need to put a piece of paper right here. I've got one. I lift this up, which is called a frisket, put this on the tympan. The frisket holds the paper in place. Then I lower this down onto the type, and here's where you can help.
Okay, like that. Oh,
Right.
cool.
So you're bringing it under the part of the press that actually applies the pressure onto the paper and the ink and the type. And to actually apply that pressure, you've got to pull this, which is called the devil's tail. Go as far as you can. Okay, that's good. Now bring it back slowly. And then turn that clockwise.
Can you give us an example of what might have been printed from this 150 years ago?
Sure. You would have printed sort of small flyers. So you might have printed, say you were in this neighborhood, a flyer advertising a shipping service. And here's an example of something that was actually printed in the neighborhood.
How many of these could you print in an hour on this press?
It would take two people here at the press, just like you and I are standing here right now. They would be in that same position. And you might be able to print 200 in an hour if you're really going well.
Okay, so how many pieces like this could you print today in an hour?
Well, if you were on a large industrial press, you could print tens of thousands of things in an hour.
200 then versus thousands today. Now I understand why ads were typically smaller, simpler, and in just one color. And they didn't include photos because, well, cameras were just being invented. So Doug, what do we have here?
We have a cabinet of type that shows two cases of metal type. And there's one up here at the top, one at the bottom. And this is the source of our words uppercase and lowercase because the capital letters are kept in the uppercase and the lower in the lowercase. Here's a uppercase P and a lowercase p. And a little interesting fact about lowercase p's, they're often easy to confuse with lowercase b's and q's. And this is a source of another phrase in our language, which is mind your p's and q's, because p's and q's are really easy to confuse when you're setting type.
From Bound & Company at the South Street Seaport, I'm Erica for Teen Kids News.
Aha, I get it now. It would be so cool to do on your own.
From then on, printing books were easier, much cheaper, and much faster. Sooner, people of all classes get to afford books and gain factual information. Literacy rate increased and spreading information became a lot easier, especially in the fields of science and technology. Scientists who discover new things write their discoveries and let people know, resulting to more innovations and inventions throughout the years. And this led to opening the world to modernization. This did not only result to literacy of people, but also gave people more jobs, especially in the printing field. Printing presses emerged, people sold books, and it gave people more jobs.
This was the reason we have the knowledge we have right now. Because if not for the printing press, then there would be no spread of information back then, and the majority of the people will stay illiterate.
Well, once again, we have learned a lot today. I guess we should go back now. That was really fun! Come again for more learnings and adventures.
Wow, that was an interesting topic. I did not know it was very hard for people to get where we are now.
I know. Now let's finish the snacks and you go finish your remaining homeworks. You have to love those letters now.
I know. Thanks a lot, Allene.